Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the philosopher that most people probably know and a lot of people actually often start out reading, even though for many years they probably still fail to spell his name. So you can probably already guess the philosopher. The philosopher is Friedrich Nietzsche, and yeah. So besides having a huge mustache, Nietzsche is actually in many ways a very misunderstood philosopher, because a lot of people often associate him with things like nihilism and also things like more like narcissism and stuff like that due to his sister in his later life. But really, when you look at it, Nietzsche was actually in many ways a huge existentialist. So he has this saying, and it's a really good saying, and it's one I often think about myself. And the saying is, if you have a big enough why, then you can bear anyhow. If you have a big enough why, then you can bear anyhow. So what does he mean by that? He means if we know ourselves, our values, and also why we need to do it, then we'll most likely do it. Because if you know why you want to do something, if you know why you want to be the best in football, and if you have a big belief in that, enough belief to go through all the pain and all the problems that comes with that, then you'll most likely fulfill it. Like if you have the passion behind it, the why, then there'll often be the result, the how. So another thing I really like about Nietzsche is his philosophy is actually in many areas quite beautiful. So he has like a sentence, and the sentence is like, you have to have madness in your soul to dance with the stars. And I think that's kind of like Nietzsche. Nietzsche was this very strong man that at one point became maybe a bit overwhelmed with reality, but he always sought this inner strength in himself. Like he had this saying that what does not kill me makes me stronger. He is actually, I think there's like even a line more to it, like in life's school of war, what does not kill me makes me stronger. I think that's like the whole line of his. But yeah, and you often heard that line many times now in movies and stuff like that, but it was actually Nietzsche that said it. I think another thing that's really good about Nietzsche is like he's kind of like this mad scientist, just that he's a philosopher. So he has also this saying that when you stare into the abyss stares into you, and or you become like what you seek, or and I think that's very telling, because sometimes people study something so long that what they study kind of rubs off on them and they become part of it. So simply because they've been in that environment so long. So it's just like staring into them also. I think there's a lot of good things in Nietzsche. Like Nietzsche can teach you a lot of things about inner strength, and also about being strong on your own. And I think like that's probably why a lot of young people first meet Nietzsche earlier in their life, is because of this search for inner strength, and also because a lot of young people often have this view of life being very relative, because when you're in your early phases of or early phases of your life, it's like you're not as I think there's two things that really change you in life. Like the first thing is when you grow older, you have had a lot more pain and you had a lot more perspective. That perspective starts shaping you. And I think at some point, along with all that pain and perspective, you also start to find a meaning. And I think when you're younger, you have a tendency to be more of a relative, like everything is relative to something else, because you have not yet formed this solid identity you believe in. And you'll often find a lot of this more relative perspectives in Nietzsche's works. And you will also see it sometimes, especially in his teacher, Schopenhauer. So I think like there's many good things about Nietzsche. Like I think a really good thing about him is this pursuit of inner strength. Like he has this mentality, like you can almost see it, Nietzsche in the mountains, growing up in the mountains, and what does not make you like what does not kill you makes you stronger, right? And I think like one has to remember that Nietzsche lived a very tough life. Like many said, it was syphilis that drove him mad. And I think he was a person that was in great pain for a great deal of his life. And in that great pain, he tried to make meaning of that and to find inner strength. And I think that has become both the beauty and the darkness of his philosophy. But I think in that darkness, there's also this glimmer of light, of when you're strong, you can do anything. And I think that was what inspired the Nazis. Like the Nazis had this idea of Nietzsche's Übermensch, someone that could do anything and power through all these terrible things and go to a place where they were completely strong and enlightened. And I think in many ways they misunderstood Nietzsche in this way, because Nietzsche was in many ways not against the Jews or anything else. He was in many ways just an existentialist. So, but yeah, I think like Nietzsche is a philosopher you should read if you are in a period of like pain, and you also like want some strength in your life. And some of these things, I also think a big part of Nietzsche is this critique of religion. And like the funny thing about Nietzsche was he was actually meant to be a priest. Like his whole family had been priests for multiple generations. And Nietzsche started questioning Christianity. That's actually why he has this about Antichrist and a lot of these things. Is when he begins to shake this period of where he starts criticizing religion. But the thing is, he kind of like kills God by questioning religion, and then he has to start building moral and ethics to help shape the place that's left behind after God. And he never completely does that, but yeah, it's actually why he's a form of existentialist, because he wants people to step into their own character, kind of like Kierkegaard. and it happens with Nietzsche after he has killed God. Then me and you have to become gods ourselves. We have to step into our character. So I think you can learn a lot from Nietzsche about strength, and you can also learn a lot about critique of ethics and morals and stuff like that. Personally, I was much into Nietzsche when I was younger. I don't read Nietzsche as much anymore. I still believe he has some of my favorite sayings, like some of his quotes are just downright gorgeous, like some of them are so poetic. And I think like Nietzsche is probably the best philosopher with his words. He's simply so poetic, and so like he has always these pictures, and he's really good at forming these pictures and explaining his philosophy through those pictures. So he also has this saying I really love, and that is like something about love being mad. Like there's always some love in madness and some madness in love. And he often has these dark insights into human nature. And I think that's why a lot of people feel drawn to Nietzsche, is because his work simply feels like at many points that it's the truth, and it's not some faraway idealism brought about some like metaphysical speculation. So yeah, I think like if you're into like this pursuit of truth and pursuit of ethics and pursuit of all these things, I think Nietzsche is a good philosopher to read, simply because he shapes so much of the context between philosophy and religion. And yeah, also because of like, again, like with Kierkegaard, is existentialism. So yeah, it was Nietzsche, and yeah, I recommend you read him.